Hey, welcome back. As Sammy Miller would say, we're back in paradise again. I have taken the exhaust off, as I mentioned in the last video, from that A65, and I'm all set up with the welder here. I ground off most of the bronze from that from the old mountings and that. And got some clear steel, so I'm going to attempt to weld the kickstand back in place. What I intend to do is just to use the kickstand itself as a guide to where it should be. Then once I've got that tacked along the top area here, then I'll remove the stand itself and see if I can get underneath and do that part there. That's going to be the tricky part. I may have to reach in from the other side. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But that's the most important part, because all the strain goes on this part here. And that's the part that had been brazed back together and had broken off. So anyway, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I will torture test it when I'm finished. I will put the bike up and put the whole weight of the bike on the side stand. If it doesn't break off, then I know that it's good to go. But only one way to find out, and the best way to fix these, of course, is take the engine right out of the bike so you can, lay the bike over on its side and really get at it. But anyway, I don't want to do that. That's more work than it's worth. If it came to that, I would just go with the center stand alone. Meanwhile, I'm going to get my helmet on, turn the welder on, and see what I can do with this. Okay, I've got that side stand lug welded on, but I haven't given it the torture test yet. This is it. It's holding the weight of the bike right now. Let's see what happens when it holds the whole front end. Hey, it's still there. All right. Let's do the torture test. Okay. So, I'm not going to put the exhaust back on yet, because I did have a little bit of clutch slippage in it, and I figure, hey, I might as well take the cover off the primary and address that while I can. So back on the lift she goes to get the primary cover removed. Okay, so I opened up the primary here to have a look at this clutch. While I was looking at the clutch, I just checked the nuts on this thing. That should be a nut, not a bolt. It turned out that the stud was stripped in there, and it was a really short stud that someone had put in, so I stuck a long bolt in there. I know it's not correct, and some of you are going to make a fuss about that, but anyway, it's in there. There's a lock washer underneath it. It's going to hold. If I was doing major work on the engine, I would have taken that whole stator off again and swapped that bolt for a proper stud. But anyway, it's good enough. It's going to hold it. It's not going to come apart. So anyway, while I was at it, I set the tension on the primary chain. It was a little bit loose. So anyway, I snugged that up to the specs, and so that should be all right. But I did notice, I don't know if the camera will pick up on this or not, but take a look at the nut on top of that clutch spring. That's in pretty much level with the spring holder. This one is not. This one's way out, and this one's way out as well. So I noticed when I pull the clutch lever in that the clutch does not come off evenly. So I'm just going to dismantle that whole clutch, have a look at the plates. If I need to, I will refresh the surface on the plates. They may need replacement plates. I have some that I can use on this bike. They're from a Triumph, but I believe they're the same. So anyway, I'm going to pop this off of here and remove the clutch plates, have a look at them, and when I put this back together, I'll make sure that this is running true, because right now that's not running true at all. I can tell just from when I pull the clutch lever. I don't know if the camera's picking up on that, but of course where the springs are looser over here, this side of the the pressure plate is lifting off way sooner than that side. So anyway, I'm going to have a look at that and get that sorted out. Yeah, just wanted to show you, those are the clutch plates I'm going to use. These are all about 160 thou wide, so they're nice and wide, and I just gave them a quick deglazing with a bit of sandpaper on a nice flat surface. So those I'm going to put in the bike. These are the old ones that I took out. They're still okay, but they're down around 140 to 145 thou from one plate to the next for thickness. So like I say, I found these thicker ones, and I'm going to use these ones instead of the ones I took out. And there are the steel plates that I've taken out. You can see they're in pretty decent shape. I'm just going to put them in the lathe and put a bit of emery cloth on them just to give them a fresh surface to work on. But there's nothing wrong with them. I'll put those back in. And there's the steel plates all resurfaced, ready to go back in. Okay, primary cover's back on. It's full of oil, or up to the level plug at least. Not full. I've seen people do that. Fill these right up to the top with oil and then wonder why the clutch wasn't working right. But yeah, anyway, so far so good. It's got the right level of oil in it. And I'm just gonna go in the house and have lunch and come back. I'll see if it's. See if I have to do any cursing and swearing and take that cover off again. Hopefully not. Okay, there it is, all back together again. Got the exhaust on it. It's been sitting for probably 12 hours. So far, no leaks. Keep my fingers crossed. Hopefully in the morning there won't be anything. Hopefully. Anyway, I did take the kickstand off again and just do a little work on the inside of the lug to get that to tuck away up in there nicely like that. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So it's just a matter of getting that back on the road again and give her another test drive. Hopefully that clutch won't be slipping anymore, and then I can get really serious and put some miles on it. Haha, 30 hours, no leaks on the lift. Yay. I think it's as oil dry as a British bike can be. Well, we're getting closer to another weekend. I did have the bike out for a couple more test drives. I found that it's hard to start from a cold state until you get the bike up and running, but I think that might have been down to this tiny little battery not being charged up enough in the first place. When I put a voltmeter across that, it was showing 11.6 volts, and that's barely enough to run a Boyer Branson ignition. So that might have been why I was getting a weak spark across the darn thing. So anyway, I've put the battery out of my old Triumph in there. That's a 9 amp hour battery. That's what's supposed to be in these bikes. This is only a 4 amp hour battery, even though it's new. I mean, this was doing the trick. I mean, once the bike is up and running, there's enough charge in the battery to keep it going with the headlight on and that sort of thing. But my God, that bench is getting dirty. I got to clean that up today. Anyway, yeah, it's Friday. Good day to clean things up. So anyway, I've had it out for a couple of test drives. The problem with the slipping clutch is now gone. I can open that throttle up all the way in any gear, and it does not slip anymore. So that's a good thing. But meanwhile, while I was out on the second test drive last week with it, I heard this little high-pitched squealing sound, and I looked down at the speedometer a few minutes later, and it had simply stopped working. So I thought, oh, geez, I know what that is. So anyway, the speedometer seized. That's where the squealing was coming from, and it broke that brand new Veen cable. So anyway, I got the speedometer off of there. I lubricated the shaft that goes inside there where the cable connects up. and I got it freed up anyway. This problem could have been solved by just putting a drop of oil on the drive of the speedometer, and of course I looked after the tack while I was at it. That's not stuck, but I made sure that it was well lubricated, put the cable back on it. I did not want to wait for a new cable, so I repaired the old one. I was lucky enough that it snapped off right down by the drive end on the rear wheel. Here is the drive that goes into the drive unit. Anyways, the cable goes into this end here, and it had just simply snapped off. So what I had to do was shorten this outer sheath by about 1 inch, and there is enough cable here, yes, to be able to still reach the speedometer. 1 inch is not that critical a measurement, but anyway, I'll tell you how I get these apart while I'm at it. I just heat that ferrule up there with a propane torch till it softens up the plastic enough to simply pull it off. Pull it off, straighten out the crimped area there, and then when I put it all back together, I just use a center punch, and I put 4 little punch marks in it to crimp that sheath back down over the cable itself. So anyway, with the cable 1 inch shorter, that gave me 1 inch more of cable sticking out on this end. I formed a square drive end on it with a bit of solder. And anyways, that should do the trick. It's back together. Didn't cost anything except about, I don't know, 1.5 hours in time. These took me a little longer. I think I played with that speedometer there for, probably 2 hours, letting the penetrating oil soak in. And of course, I got too much oil in the instrument, and it got inside all over the glass. So I decided I'd take this bezel off and wipe it all out. Well, of course, the damn bezel was stuck to the rubber like shit to an army blanket. So I had to pry so hard on it, of course, that I broke the glass. And where is it? There's the evidence right there. I had to pry so hard on it that the old glass broke. So anyway, I resorted to something Mike gave me years ago. That is a piece of Lexan. You could hit that with a hammer all day long and it won't break. So I got a bulletproof lens on this one, at least, anyway. So anyhow, I got that all back together, all cleaned up, and looking pretty good again there. So anyway, and it turns freely. It's not stiff and squeaky anymore. So got that looked after. But like I say, if you're assembling an old bike from old parts, a little drop of oil on the end of those speedo drives will do them a world of good. It will penetrate up into that little bushing where the drive goes up inside and does its thing. Anyway, like I said, that's about it for this week. I got a bit more test driving to do on this bike before I'm happy with it. If changing that battery does not alter the way this bike starts, I am going to rip that old Boyer Branson out and just replace it with a set of ignition points. But we'll see what happens. I'm quite sure it will work just fine with points in it. But with that weak battery, would definitely cause a weak spark and make the bike difficult to start. So anyhow, we'll see what happens next week. I'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching. Be good to each other. And like I said, we'll be back next week.